Welcome to Oklahoma Gardening. Today I've shed my gardening clothes and put on my beekeeping suit because we're going to come back and visit Jim Grayson of Owasso. He's a beekeeper we visited last year. We want to come back and see how his hives are progressing and also take a little more in-depth view of how a beekeeper extracts honey and makes it into products that we use at home, and to give you a little better appreciation of the importance of honeybees to pollination in your home garden. Well, hi, Jim. Looks like you've got a good day for working the hives.
Yeah, it's not bad today, Susan. It's a little breezy, but...
At least we've got the sun shining.
Right, we like that sunshine. I believe these will be all right now.
Oh, good.
Hey, looks like...
Oh, they're really busy today.
Uh-huh.
Look at that. Now these bees right now with the fruit trees blooming, I guess they're really busy collecting pollen and nectar.
They are. They're bringing in some, sure are. And I've got feed out for them too. I put feed out in 5-gallon buckets scattered around the place.
That's a sugar syrup type
Sugar
feed?
syrup,
This time of year, I
put
guess.
a little older, stronger honey with it. Looks like these bees are about on the super. This time of year, that's fairly normal for them to be up here. Because the queen notices it's warmer up here, and the queen will come up here and start laying.
So if you're checking a beehive, they'd be in the upper portion of it.
It's a possibility. Sometimes they're not, but a lot of times they are, see?
Oh,
yeah, see, she's laying up here. See, we've got brood.
Look at that.
Brood all in here. See, here's new nectar. You see the shiny nectar in here? It's new.
Yeah.
This is capped honey here.
So starting off with the beehive, the bee's most important thing this time of year is to build up brood for the new population, right?
That's right.
That's their main priority.
Yeah, they bring in new nectar, new pollen. Let's set this one down to the back here. Get it out of the wind. We'll check through here a little bit.
All right, take a look and see what they're doing.
Yeah, we might. A few things over
now these
here.
bees have lived all winter on honey they stored themselves.
That's right.
And now they're busy. I guess they have to get out and start collecting some so they'll feed.
A lot of hives here on the place this winter. This hive was out in around Hennessy on doing pollination work last summer and fall.
Oh yeah.
This is all honey's made out there.
So this is honey, and that will feed when these young bees hatch out of the brood right here. They'll feed on that honey.
That's right.
Okay.
You also notice we have some new stuff right in here. It's not capped, real shiny looking.
Yeah. Now that's nectar they've just gathered.
Just brought in. That's right.
And then they'll cap that over themselves.
Possibly they won't cap it. They'll use it for feed this spring for their for the new bees coming on and the brood and everything. So I doubt that they will. They won't ever cap that. No.
Now, does capping with the wax or pulling out making the comb and capping with the wax, that takes more energy? They have to feed on honey to be able to do that.
That's true. You have to have fuel. That's your fuel, and more work to do. Why, the more feed they have to have.
Oh golly.
Kind of glancing there to see if I find a queen here, but.
Now each hive has just one queen.
That's
right?
true. And just one.
They all work right around her.
No, that's not her. I thought she might be this little cluster here. No, they're kind of keep this brood warm, reading their cluster. Know that.
Because it's cooler out today.
The wind's a little cool.
Now with that one hive or one queen in the hive, she's able to lay all the eggs for the new young bees?
That's right. She lays them all.
Amazing.
She can lay her weight in eggs a day. She can lay from often 1,200 to 2,000 eggs, a 24-hour period. Of course, come the spring year, we need a lot of bees, to do this pollinating.
Sure.
Bring in the honey, nectar.
How long will an average worker bee live?
Starting this time of year, approximately 6 weeks.
About 6 weeks.
They just work themselves to death. Of course, most of these bees here have lived through the winter, see, because they were in cluster and not working. But they just work themselves to death.
Oh yeah, and someone told me that they actually wear their wings out. They fly so much.
They will.
That's amazing.
Of course, in the summer when it gets warmer, they use their wings a lot more because they're down at the entrance fanning to keep the hive cool.
Keep it cooler.
So they bring water in, deposit through the hive. And then they fan it through there, and then evaporation keeps the hive cool.
So it's sort of like the old swamp coolers we used to use in our houses.
The old swamper fan. That's
interesting.
Same principle.
Now, in the average hive, Jim, we've got the worker bees that go out and collect the pollen and the nectar, and the queen, and then there's a drone.
Yes.
Drone bee.
There's There's one queen, a few hundred drones, and several thousand workers.
Now the workers are the females, the drones are the males. What's their main, I guess their main objective is to mate with the queen.
But the new queen, that's their main purpose.
So she'll lay the eggs.
Uh-huh, that's right. See, new queen hatches out, she'll leave the hive and they mate in flight.
Mm-hmm.
And when she comes back, she may mate with maybe 4 or 5 drones. Mm. And then she comes back and starts laying. That's the only time she leaves the hive, unless she leaves in a swarm.
Yeah.
We didn't run across her in there, so let's go back. She may have went down.
Okay.
We'll,
when you're checking a hive like this, do you try to find the queen each time to see how she's doing?
No, not as long as they have eggs and brood. I don't care about where I see the queen or not.
So you're checking just to make sure they're laying the right number of eggs.
Right. See, it's a little bit early yet. They're not have a real big brood pattern, but see, she's not even laying over this far yet. See.
Yeah.
This is mostly empty.
Look at that.
Little bit of honey in there, so there's no use to go across over here. Let's just smoke them just a little bit again, and we'll set this off.
Now this smoker drives them down into the hive, and
it calms them. They think of fire, see, and they'll start eating honey and kind of gorge themselves, like you see these bees right here.
So they're full of honey.
When they get full, see, they're not so apt to sting.
Oh, because they can't bend over. I guess their abdomen is full. Well, I notice as you're working the hive, you make very smooth, calm movements. I suppose that's important to keep the bees calm as well.
That's right. Yeah, this get it calm and easy, and there's.
Now tell us about these different layers in the hive. You're down into the main body of it now.
This is the brood chamber. That was the super.
That's where you would find the surplus.
Surplus honey,
Honey, And down in here, you're where they have the main part of the hive.
Yes, ma'am. This is
different frames. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of them on there, but I don't see the queen yet.
No, she'd be a little bit bigger than the worker bees.
She is slightly larger.
Oh, look at that. They are busy. Huh. Now, when you start out with just a bare beehive that has they've never lived in, you've got these frames and you have the wax comb foundation. Does it take them long to build up these comb chambers to fill with honey?
Well, if you feed them real good, they can take all 10 frames here, and all 30 to 40 days, they can have it all drawn out and filled up. If you keep feed on them, everything, keep them good and strong.
Oh, look at that. How many bees would you say are living in this hive?
Well, right now it's not a real strong hive. It's going into the spring, coming to the winter. But we like to have at least 8 to 10 pounds of bees for a good colony.
So that'd be thousands and thousands of them.
Several thousand.
When a person gets a new beehive and you buy, I suppose you buy bees to get started with, they are sold by the pound?
Yes, ma'am. Bees are always sold by the pound. See, we get in packages here every year for our customers.
Yeah.
And we get them in 2-pound or 3-pound packages, whichever one they want.
And so a person will just take a 2-pound package of bees and dump them in the hive, and then they start working?
Yeah, you put the queen in first.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Put the queen in. And then they'll follow her?
Well, yeah, they'll stay right there, and you start feeding them. They start building up. And see, we're bringing first part of April. We'll bring a load of packaged bees. And
Now, I noticed, Jim, as you're working the hive, you're using this hive tool and kind of easing the frames out. It looks like there's some sticky material. Is that?
That's called propolis.
Propolis.
Pardon me. That's made from the. They get from the buds of trees and things like that.
They take it from tree buds, and does it act as a sealer in the hive?
Yes, it does. It's as a glue.
Now, it looks real sticky.
Most of the bees are up in the super on this hive, Susan, so there's not much use to
not much use to look through there.
Check it anymore, I don't think.
Well, I guess since it's a cool day, they're wanting to stay up where it's warmer.
Yes.
In the top level.
See, they cluster together so you can stay warm.
Yeah.
And like I say, as long as you give them a little smoke and handle them easy, there's nothing to to bother with, not getting stung too bad or anything like that.
Yeah. Now, if a hive gets too crowded, Jim, later in the season, will the bees split up or try to leave the hive if they run out of space in a beehive?
They sure will. They'll swarm, and that's the main reason for swarming is that the hive gets a little too crowded.
Uh-huh.
See, and you always want to scoot your bees around when you set your hive back together. They're clustered around to keep from mashing a bunch of them.
Don't want to crush any of those bees.
No.
Yeah.
They're valuable little girls.
Well, now...
One thing I forgot to do,
what's
that?
Scoot
this back. You first work your hive in the spring. It's good to give them a little bit of medicine. This is what we call Tetra Bee mix. It's a mixture of terramycin, powdered sugar, and this is for foul brood.
And that's a disease that bees get.
It's a spore that works on the brood. It doesn't affect the adult bee.
Uh-huh.
We just kind of sprinkle along across the top bars.
Oh, I see.
Like that.
And then they'll carry that on in?
They'll carry it in, uh-huh. And, you know, the bees share everything, so every little bee in there to get a little bite of this.
Uh-huh.
I was just carrying an old shaker jar there.
You know, we always think of bees as being so self-reliant, but I guess they do need some help with disease prevention.
Well, you have so much stuff, trash thrown around, and the spores grow on stuff, and you know, in a trash dump, if there's a jelly jar, maybe something like that, the spore
and they could carry that to the hive.
They carry it back in, see?
Oh, we don't want that.
No, even, you know, along the roadside.
But now, on this swarming business, if a gardener finds a swarm of bees in their garden, do they need to be concerned?
Well, not really concerned, but they ought to be happy and just, you know, maybe get them a hive and leave the swarm there.
Because that's free bees.
That's free bees, and that's free pollination. That's more groceries put on the table, and the more pollination you have, the better crops you have.
Yeah.
See, in Oklahoma, we have approximately 90 crops that need bee pollination.
90 different crops,
that's amazing. Bee pollination, insect pollination, bee is the prime one, because we can move them around.
Uh-huh.
See, a lot of these hives, all these hives here will be moved out before long.
You'll move them to farms?
Yes,
I see.
We contract out different crops.
What sort of crops, Jim, do you use the hives on?
Alfalfa, make alfalfa seed. Last year we were on hot peppers and seedless watermelons.
Well, that's, you know, we tell gardeners that bees are used to pollinate both the vine crops and the peppers.
They are,
How about that? Well, I'm sure those farmers...
I believe your vining crops need at least seven visits, don't they? Something like that. I know a cucumber does.
Yeah, a cucumber needs 7 bee visits to...
Make nice straight...
Right, to make a full fruit.
And get a little one crook like a jug handle, you know, while that hasn't been fully pollinated.
Yes.
Checking around her, might find that queen.
Well, if a person didn't want a backyard swarm, would they, could you come pick one up, or a beekeeper could come? I guess those bees are pretty calm when they're swarming like that.
In a swarm, they're very calm, see, because they're full of honey. They take all they can carry when they leave the hive, because they've got to establish a new home.
Sure.
And they've got to have food, you know, to eat on while they're, you know, getting reestablished, and things like that. Here's part of your propolis here, like they seal things down.
Some of the glue. If it were later in the summer, and we're ready to take some honey out of this hive, how would we do that?
Well, there's several different methods.
Can we go take a look at some of those methods?
Yeah, why don't we do that? We can to take the super off. We use a blower.
Okay.
Or a fume board, or you can take each frame out and brush it off.
And that takes the bees out.
Yes, well, I have some already taken off. If you'd like to take a look at it.
Okay, let's go look at that.
Okay, we'll do that. Let me put it back together here.
So, Jim, we've brought this super inside from the hive, and we're going to extract some honey now. Do you have to do this in any particular order, or what's the first step?
No, you can just take them any place you want to. Usually we start at the edge, but we pulled a few out of here a while ago, and kind of checking them. So we'll just take this one out now if you'd like. It's pretty nice. Of course, this is fall honey.
Yeah.
And it's still, pretty nice honey, nice full frame. You see it's pretty thick.
Oh, yeah.
On the bottom
it's just
there.
Loaded up.
So
and that's all honey. There are no cells in there where there are brood chambers or anything.
No, there's no brood in this. No, sure not. It's a nice frame.
Manage the hive so that'll be solid honey.
So we'll just step over here and decap it here right quick. I like to cut a little off the edge there. And some start at the top on decapping. I always like to start at the bottom of the frame and work up.
Now this is a hot knife.
This is a hot electric knife.
And it melts the wax off of it.
Yes, it's also got a little edge on it, a little sharp, but you have to have it come off like that.
Yeah, you've got to have the cap off so the honey will come out.
Right,
And then you do the other side.
The other side.
Boy, that's really thick on there.
Yeah, that's nice.
Looks good.
Well, see, I run 8 and 9 frames in my supers. That makes them draw it out wider like that.
Oh, so they've got more room.
More room, makes it much easier to decap, and it gives you a little extra wax. See, this is a hot decapping tank. We have a water jacket under here that heats the honey and runs it out and melts the wax, and it goes into the container over here where you're standing.
So the caps you take off, you're going to be able to use this material that's down in here.
Oh yes,
the honey and the wax.
We use everything. We don't lose a thing.
Okay.
Then after we extract this, we can put this frame back on. See,
and the bees will reuse it.
Okay, let's set it right over here. We'll set this right down here. This is a 12-frame radial extractor, and whoops it out there pretty fast. You know, tighten it up here. It winds it up pretty fast.
Well, Jim, it looks like the extractor's done its job. What's the next step?
The next step, we're going to drain it out of here, Sue, and let it run out through a cheesecloth here to strain the particles of comb.
Oh, that looks good.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty. Now, it drains through the cheesecloth, and that just takes out any little, you said particles of comb that might have gotten in there?
And it, let it drain through there. It takes a while to drain, you know. And the temperature of your honey means a lot. Like today, it's a little cool, so the honey's not real warm. The warmer, you know, in July or August, the honey's warmer.
It really runs through then when it's warm.
Faster,
I see. Now, and you get all this drained out of there and into the bucket. Do you immediately put it in jars for sales, or do you store it in bulk bins and then just?
Well, I usually store it in bigger containers, the settling tanks.
Yeah.
But then I can draw it right out of there when I need it. But you have to get it bottled, done something with it for long, because it will crystallize on you. See, pure raw honey, any of it will crystallize.
How long does that take for it to crystallize?
Well, different things crystallize faster than others. Like cotton, sometimes you can't even get it extracted. It crystallizes real fast. But clovers.
Clover honeys, you mean?
Clover honey, yes. Clover honey, it takes a while. If you keep it warm, now you keep it cool, you never put it in the refrigerator. You put it in the refrigerator, it'll crystallize real fast.
So you keep it room temperature.
Keep it room temperature, and it'll last a while. Of course, if it does crystallize, all you need to do is warm it up. It comes right back to liquid.
It'll be
just
fine.
Nothing wrong with the honey.
Yeah.
I know your commercial honey, like you find on a lot of your supermarket shelves, has been heated and pressure filtered to, and it takes everything out of it.
So it's not. It might look. What, it'd be lighter than this, or a little different
It may be
color?
a little lighter, maybe darker, but see this, you can see there's still some little bit of comb on top of this jar here.
Yeah, so you can tell that's natural, local honey.
Also look for your best to you label made in Oklahoma. We're trying to promote that now with the State Agriculture Department.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't realize a lot of honeys that they buy, their commercial national brands, come in from other countries
That's
now,
right.
don't they?
A lot of it's imported right now.
So we want to buy local honey.
Here in Oklahoma, look for your best Oklahoma label.
Okay,
and,
good.
That'll help us all out.
Well, now there are some other byproducts, I guess, of the beehive. Can you show me some of those?
Oh, yes, lots of them. Well, we have chunk comb honey here. Right here, we have a cutter here. We use this cutter. It cuts the right size. You can get 4 of these out of a shallow frame. And when you cut it out, just lift it off, and you take a spatula here and set it right in your in your box. Sometimes you get a little on the edge, of course.
And you just sell it like that.
Sell it like that,
Put your label on it and sell it. Now,
that's right.
I've seen people just keep that on their dinner table just for dessert. They'll take a spoonful of that after a meal and chew on the wax and enjoy the honey. That's a real
nice
treat.
package, see, when you get it.
Yeah, it'd be a nice gift for people if you're traveling too.
It is.
Chunk comb honey from Oklahoma.
We sell quite a bit for Christmas gifts. People want.
Yeah, that's a real novelty. Huh, that's interesting. Well, now, earlier we were talking about this machine that draws off the cappings.
Right.
And you have wax left over, and that you end up with a chunk of beeswax. do you ever recycle that and make it into more foundation for the bees, or do you just use it for candles?
We use for we sell it for different things, and I trade a lot back in for new foundation. It's like we've cut this one out. See here, we have to put new foundation back in it.
Right.
So no, we trade a lot in for foundation. A lot of people buy it for. There's many different uses for the beeswax. See, it melts to come out of this melter here, and then I run this through a solar melter. Comes out in the little bars like that.
Oh, that's nice. So that'd make a lot of good long-wearing candles. That's for sure. Well, now this next item from the beehive has me intrigued.
Well, this is your pollen. And this is the bees' protein food. The honeys are carbohydrate. The nectar is a carbohydrate food.
The nectar's a carbohydrate, and this is their protein.
Right.
And so in the spring, for instance, in early spring, like this time of year, the elms are in bloom.
Right.
They're out collecting pollen from that.
Yes.
To feed their young.
Feed their brood. They have to have a lot of pollen in the spring to feed the brood.
Well, now how do you collect this pollen?
Well, what we call a pollen trap. They bring it in on their legs, you know, hind legs, the pollen, and little balls on there. We have a pollen trap. They have to go through 2 sections of a hardware cloth, certain sizes, 5 squares to 1 inch. The bee can go through there, but it pulls the pollen off their legs.
Oh, knocks it off their legs.
Knocks it off. It drops down a little drawer, and every couple of days we go by and dump the drawer. Then we have to clean it because there's little, maybe some bee scales in their legs, or maybe they pull a leg off. We have to clean it, and then we package it up.
And people use it as a health food.
Right.
Yes. Oh, it's amazing that it comes in so many different colors.
Well, all your different plants makes different varieties. Some is red, some is almost white.
It just depends on the type of pollen that plant bears.
Type of plants they've worked.
Oh, this has been fascinating, Jim. I hope for you gardeners at home, you realize or have a little better appreciation for when you're working in your garden and see bees working, that more than likely they belong to some beekeeper, and that this is his livelihood, is extracting honey and getting some of these other products from the hive. And so you want to be careful with bees, because they're helping your pollination, and also they're helping that beekeeper to make a living. So be cautious with your insecticide sprays. Don't spray when the plant is in full bloom, especially fruit trees. Right now we're going into fruit bloom. That's an important time of year for you. Jim, I'd like to thank you for sharing all this with us today, and have a good season.
I hope to. Thank you. Come out anytime.
Okay.